Welcome back, everyone. Good evening. As you can see, we are 1, 2, 3, 3 in, 1 to go. I'm just actually in a conversation with Andrew right now, Andrew Bridgen, our special guest tonight, and for some reason, there's a little bit of a technical problem, so hopefully he gets that sorted out anytime soon. I'm just having a little look here. I left and came back. I'm backstage again. Okay, so I don't know what's going on here. Andrew says he's backstage, but I'm blowed if I can see him. So let's have a little look. Yeah, definitely. I can't. Andrew, if you're watching, I can't see you backstage. Use the link that I just sent you, my friend. That is the link. Sorry about that, everyone. Let me just pop that in again there. Right, let's hopefully he picks that up. Right, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Danny.
Good evening, mate. How are you? You okay?
I'm not too bad. Good evening, Richard. How are you, mate?
Evening, Paul. The very best.
Good to see you. Good to see you all. Let's just have a little look at the chat. That's already piling in. Let's have a little look here. Now, why can I not see the regular chat as well? We got one or two technical issues here today.
Let me have a look, see if I can see it, Paul. Hold on.
Excellent.
No, I can't either, Paul.
No chat's coming through. Let's have a look.
I can see it on mine.
You can?
Yeah, unless their one's going through to my. I can even see your super chats there, Paul.
Well, that's really weird. I can't see.
I can't see him at all.
I can see supers. Well, I mean, I don't know if I can share them.
Ah, here we go. Yeah, gone. Yeah, gone.
Okay, cool. That's sound.
Yeah, gone. Right, my chat's fine. Yep, one or two little hiccups there. Occurs 10. Good. Welcome. Good to see you. I think Andrew is having a problem here. Let's have a little look. Hopefully, look, he's got the link. Hopefully, he'll be able to pop on any moment soon. Like many others watching, I guess we've been looking forward to speaking to Andrew tonight. So hopefully he can get on there ASAP. Right, we'll start off with a couple of shout-outs. First of all, Raymondo, Zena, and Sonny the Rottweiler from Peacehaven. Good evening. I bumped into you about a week or so ago and completely forgot to give you a shout-out last time. So that's the first one. And a very big happy birthday to a very big friend of ours, Liam Tufts. It's his birthday tomorrow. I think it's his 60th tomorrow. Sorry, Liam. But happy birthday, Liam. If you're watching, feel free to wish Liam an happy birthday tomorrow. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. And also, Linda Brackstone dropped me a message earlier on that said, Paul, on the 21st of April, there's a celebration of our patron saint at Trafalgar Square. Can you say something about it so as many patriots can attend? Unity is needed. Thank you. There you go, Linda. I spied that one earlier on and haven't forgot to read it out. So, no, Andrew, I don't know why we can't see you. Oh, dear. Hopefully he'll be on, but if not, we'll just have to make the most of it. Let's have a little look. Right, okay. So first subject of the night, and we've got a big subject later on, guys, which is, of course, Ben Habib's big tease earlier on. The solution is coming. I don't know if you guys saw that from Ben earlier on, but yeah, we'll play that a little bit later on. And okay, so Andrew's just asking me to email him that link. Just bear with me. Richard, just carry on for a minute while I...
Well, I suppose I could talk about what I was up to this afternoon.
Yes, please do so, yeah.
So, lunchtime today, there'd been an event advertised for Belfast City Hall, and it was a cross-community thing, and it was great. And it was literally organised by two young women. They're not involved in politics. They've no background in doing anything like this. And they just put a post on Facebook saying, look, we want to do a demo about what's happening with immigration, what's happening with demographics. We're worried about our children. We're worried about our families. We're worried about the women in the community. And yes, so they put it on Facebook, and we got there, and a couple of hundred people had turned up. Now, as well as the couple of hundred people from our side, there was a couple of hundred union reps. I think it was Unison and Unite and all the other, the renter mob that turn up, and a few extremists, and there was Palestinian flags there, and there was, keep Nazis out of Ireland flags and all that sort of malarkey. It was actually ironic. So there's basically a Hamas flag there, and they're accusing us of being Nazis. Now, I could be wrong, but I thought the main people that Hamas killed were Jewish people, which kind of makes them the Nazis. But that's, let's not, let the truth get in the way.
Well, let's have a little quick look at that clip that surfaced. Very heartwarming to see the Irish tricolour, the flag of Ulster, and the Union flag all together in unison.
People have got to understand, even 20 years ago, that would have caused a riot. Standing with a tricolour and an Ulster flag and a Union Jack together at City Hall, would just not have happened.
Recipe for disaster.
Absolutely. And what's happening is and my fear is that the deep state in the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland and the gatekeepers, and I'm not going to say any more about who those gatekeepers are, and the gatekeepers will try and interrupt that cross-community network, because, believe it or not, the deep state really don't want the cross-community network. They don't want the working class Protestants and Catholics in Northern Ireland coming together in common cause. It happened before, believe it or not, in the 1930s. And I can't remember what it was over. I think it was over the sort of unemployment that was going on in the 30s. And the state cracked down on that and disrupted it and destroyed it. And of course, we know what happened after that, the Troubles and et cetera, et cetera. But it's happening again.
We have our special guest. He's in. Andrew, good evening.
Good evening. The link did come eventually. It ended up in my junk.
Sorry, Andrew, but there we go. Look, you're in now, and like all big stars, they turn up late. I mean, we know what it's all about, Andrew. So we're familiar.
Do you know what I was thinking, Andrew? It's not the first time I've been called junk, so don't worry about it.
Well, that's it. All you lack is confidence, you see.
4,000 people nearly watching. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. Andrew, we was just discussing the people in Northern Ireland today in Belfast.
United.
United. Lovely to see.
It's a shame it took an issue as bad as this to get the communities to unite, but it's a sign, and that's what we've got to do in this country as well, across all communities.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
So look, Andrew, we've got a big topic later on, which you're going to play a major role in. I think the first one I want to talk about today is obviously this Norwood Primary School issue. I mean, I'm sure everyone's seen it. Everyone's aware of it. When I first saw the story last night, I actually retweeted it, went to bed, laid in bed thinking about it and thought, nah, that can't be true. And I deleted the tweet thinking that's got to be bullshit, right? And I woke up this morning to find that it was absolutely true.
Tell me about it, Paul, because I don't recall I've heard about it.
Okay, so I'll just read, basically, I'll read you a bit of the article from the Daily Mail. I mean, I wouldn't normally bother with that paper, but this sums it up. It says a primary school has scrapped its annual Easter celebration and service in order to respect diverse religious beliefs. So basically, the bottom line is that Norwood Primary School in Eastleigh, which is in Hampshire, has scrapped their Easter celebration in the name of diversity. Now, what I see here, guys, is discriminatory, divisive. I think it's offensive. And I think this sort of nonsense is dangerous because all it's going to breed is resentment and mistrust. So quite what these people think they're up to. Now, to give you the idea of the depth of feeling on this, and I know that we're talking to, perhaps you might say a biased audience, But just about 20 minutes before we went live, I put a poll up, both on this live, but more importantly, I put it up on my channel, and within 15 minutes, we'd had over 3,000 votes, and 98% of the people voting said that those responsible for this cancellation of Easter should lose their jobs. Are we missing anything here, Andrew?
No, you're not. But what we're seeing across the world, and it's normally in countries where the Christians are a minority, they are the most victimized minority, persecuted minority anywhere in the world. And if it were happening to any other religion, the Parliament in Westminster would be jumping up and down, making protests. But it always just gets pushed onto the Christians. But you don't expect this sort of behavior in a majority Christian country. I mean, if we can't hold the line here, there's no hope for us.
Yeah, where can we hold the line? I mean, the excuses that were given during I won't bother reading the whole statement out, because everyone will have seen it by now. But the excuses and the way they were trying to justify this cancellation was completely and utterly, for me, it was just hypocrisy. I mean, Danny, if you read the whole thing?
Yeah, I have, Paul. Yeah.
What did you make of it?
Another attack on Christianity, isn't it? They're silent attacks, and they consistently start at school age now. They seem to be trying to take the school children's out, the children of school age out of Christianity now. And as you say, diversity. I mean, what's that all about?
Well, diversity, diversity,
now, mate.
Diversity in its fullest meaning should mean that you cover all of the religions. You don't just kick one out. Now, the thing is here, Richard, is that on top of that, I mean, frankly, I think this is nothing short of abuse of Christian children. And by the way, Christian children come in all different shapes, sizes, and colours. Now,
well, I mean, sorry, go on, Paul. Yeah,
I was going to say, the bottom line is this, Richard, is that rubbing the parents of the children of that school, rubbing their noses in it, they then want to farm the kids out to some bloody refugee week or whatever it was. I mean, if they're going to talk about refugees, it might be a good idea to explain to them that actually, if they're going to find themselves in trouble, the percentages say that it's more likely to be from a refugee, unfortunately, like it or not. So it's just one big mind screw, isn't it?
I think that's absolutely right. And I think there's a couple of points there, Paul. One of them you made very correctly, that Christianity is a religion of all colours, all continents. It's not a white religion. It's not a European religion. It's a Middle Eastern religion, in fact. And there's probably more Christians in Africa than there are certainly practicing Christians than there are in Europe. And some of the biggest churches in London are black African churches. So this isn't because we're white we're talking about this. But I think the other point on this is, and we're all guilty of this, whether we admit it or not, we've neglected Christianity. We've paid it lip service. We haven't taken it seriously. We've belittled it. And I think one of the interesting things that people like Jordan Peterson and others are doing is they're making Christianity cool again. I mean, he's got millions of young men following his podcast, and a lot of them are about Christian stuff. Now, he never says where he stands himself. He's very clever like that. But when we met him, Paul, he said something very interesting when we're talking about how do you get this message across to the masses. And he said, tread lightly. In other words, instead of, ramming it home with a sledgehammer, the way he does it, he kind of just asks questions about it and tries to get people to engage with the texts and with the ideologies and with the ideas, which I think is maybe he is a Christian, but he's just the cleverest Christian on the planet at the minute, and he's managing to win a lot of people over. I don't know, but I think the reality is we have to take Christianity seriously, and we have to realize that all faiths are not the same. That there's a massive problem with a certain faith, which I don't want to mention because I don't want to get your channel vaporized. And they different ideas produce different fruit, and I think that's a very simple way of putting it.
How do we battle this, Andrew, in a mature, sensible fashion? What do we do to show this school that we're not happy?
The rot really set in under Tony Blair. I seem to remember he and Alistair Campbell were asked some questions once, and they said, "We don't do religion." Do you remember? We don't do religion.
Yep.
Well, quite honestly, a lot of my friends who were definitely on the agnostic side, shall we say, I mean, they've seen things go on in the world the last 5 years, which are so bad that they've seen pure evil, and now they're pretty strong believers, quite honestly, because there has to be some counterforce. I think we haven't got to be ashamed of our religion. I think we've been cowed for decades, where we sort of Christianity is the poor relation of religions, and what's really disappointing, Paul, is that our so-called church leaders don't stand up for our own religion.
Yeah. Well, they've been a nightmare. Yeah, they've been a nightmare.
They never say anything. You know, they don't say anything about paedophiles either, do they? Unfortunately.
No, well,
yeah. I mean, there's a. I don't know if it's a genuine meme. There's a picture of an Anglican female vicar, which again, that's another story, but we'll not talk about female vicars. But an Anglican female vicar holding up a sign saying, "We are all Muslims." Now, I don't know if it's genuine. It looks pretty genuine, but obviously with AI, you can make anything look genuine. Yeah. But it's kind of, if it's not genuine, it's pretty much the direction they're going, where they've had Muslim imams praying prayers in churches that are nothing less than curses against Christians and Jews. And because the vicars are so stupid and dumb and they don't know anything about Christianity or about Islam, they just go, that's fine, wave it through. So what Andrew's saying is absolutely right. The weakness in the Church of England is horrendous. And what we need is a Christian revival. It's as simple as that. We need people, like Andrew was saying, his friends that have gone along the slide from being agnostic to believers in a very, very short space of time. And I think so we may be seeing something like that happening, like an awakening to Christianity and people coming back that have sort of slipped away.
And even those who can't go so far as believe. The Christian morals, principles, they are the bedrock of what made England, England, and Britain, Britain. And we pull those foundations away and it's just going to help the slide. But I mean, that's the way the country's going, and we need that. We need that strong moral basis back. Without any moral, without that, there's no moral compass. There's no consequences for any of your actions.
Let me read you an email.
Has there been any backlash to this, Paul? Has there been any backlash from the parents?
Not that I know of at the moment, Danny. You'd think there should be, but let me read you an email that I received this afternoon. After this story broke, and obviously it's been doing the rounds, it's gone quite viral actually. I've got permission from the person that sent it to read it, but obviously I'm going to omit one or two details. Basically it says, "Dear Paul, I'm reaching out with a sense of deep frustration and outrage in the manner in which I've been mistreated by my employer. I work as a teacher in a college and I've worked there for many years. I've taught business studies. However, my first degree was history and politics." Let me just read the next bit to myself because I can't read that bit out. "Incredibly, I've been persecuted by my employer and I've been reported. I was interviewed like a criminal by the assistant head teacher and the following turned against me. A few months ago, a student asked me," this is during politics class, "if it was true that Tommy Robinson's book had been a #1 bestseller. Now, I didn't know, so I looked it up online and confirmed to the student that this was the case. The student then asked me more questions about Tommy Robinson, and as I didn't know, I asked the student to do his own research. I'd forgotten all about this and find it shocking that somebody on the staff has apparently compiled a list against me. The deputy principal then had a list of alleged comments that I had made. This was incredible to me and very upsetting. The list included upsetting a transgender student when a YouTube video played after the US elections showed a newsreader talking about DEI politics. This guy, I mean, he says he doesn't even know much about Tommy and he just told the student to do their own research and he's now out of work."
Problem is, Paul, right? You're dealing with lefty people. Generally, in general, teachers are more to the left, and this is why the children are being educated to swing more to the left. And then you're talking about a perceived far right individual, although we know he's not far right. That's the media that does that. I don't know if you saw, Paul, just on the subject of Tommy, Danny Tomo went and see him today.
I haven't seen the video yet. I'm aware that there's one
basically
up.
he's saying he's not in a good way. And he was saying that there's a little bit of corruption going on, because on the lead up to the court case that Tommy's recently had, they were piling in with loads of things in his cell, like giving him what he wants, etc., etc. And basically he was saying, well, look, you know, during his stay, he's had this, that, but it's only been in the last week or so. And also, when he makes a phone call, he's getting cut off several times, or 10 times in a call. They're then having to call back. So effectively, they're now saying in the courtroom, allegedly, that, you know, he's had 12,000 phone calls since he's been in our thing. So we're hardly like alienating him. But 10 of those phone calls are from one call. One person, You know, so they're and this is allegedly what's going on. I mean, I don't know whether, you know, you obviously haven't seen it, but apparently he's in a very bad way. He aligned him with, you remember, is it Castaway? Tom Hanks, when he was on the desert island, grew a beard and very, you know, withdrawn and, you know, lacking nutrients and stuff. That's exactly how Danny Tomo described him today. And that was obviously at his visit today. He spent 2 hours with him. He said he was upbeat about things, but he's looking very, very ill. That was Danny Tomo's analysis of what happened today.
Very, very worrying.
Yeah. And yet, Paul, the court case, just get on with it, mate. Just get on with it. You've only done 4 or 5 months. Or
we've got an appeal on the 11th. Matt W says it's completely outrageous. The English parents on the kids in that school must not accept it. Well, it's the Christian parents, and to be fair, any parents really, this should not be allowed. My fear is that a lot of the parents will just shrug their shoulders and
get on with it
and get on with it and move on. I find it absolutely outrageous myself, but
I think one of the issues is, Paul, I mean, people forget that the education system, the health system, were developed by Christians from the Middle Ages onwards. You know, all education and all healthcare was Christian based. So there wouldn't, you know, if we just stayed in the, you know, as barbarians and pagans, you know, sacrificing each other and raping and pillaging and being Vikings or whatever we were, there would be no healthcare. We would be living in a completely barbarous society, and we would never have moved on. It's only, as Andrew said, that the building blocks of Western civilization are from the Sermon on the Mount, the Gospels, the Ten Commandments. You know,
I think the parents will be feeling isolated. And I think in the area where this is happening, you don't have to have children at the school to be concerned about what the next generation are being taught, because you know, their futures and our futures are completely intertwined in the same society. If that is the society we want to live in, and I think the Christian people in that community should make their own complaint, quite honestly. And on the Tommy Robinson stuff, I had a long-term visit booked in for him for the 27th of February. That was cancelled at short notice just about a week before. Apparently they'd made some mistake. They could do any other day, but not that day. And it's now been rearranged. So I'm supposed to be seeing him on the 5th of April. We will see. I have little confidence that that's not going to be cancelled before the visit as well.
Absolutely disgraceful. 6,229 people watching. Guys, if you haven't already done so, please make sure you subscribe. Please just hit that thumbs up for me. Would really appreciate it. Got some new members to shout out. Anne Wilson, thank you. Karen Willett, thank you. Wes Rum Gone and Rob Gorman, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Andrew Stewart and Jenny as well. Si Harris, thank you very much, Si. Good evening. And happy Easter, gents. Thank you. Someone was suggesting a demonstration outside the school. The problem is, as I said earlier on to someone, that look, if you was to do that, you know how the press would use it. They'd say you was intimidating the children, and the children were distressed. So I don't think that's a particularly great idea, but something has to be done. I think the first thing that we can do is we can certainly all email and write to that school. This is the head mistress. Now, I don't know if this particular person is the one that actually wrote that letter. The letter, I believe, came from her. But the bottom line is that I think that all of these people should lose their jobs. I don't think there's any ifs or buts or maybes. They should they shouldn't be anywhere near our kids, because this is division. This is exactly what causes suspicion, separation, anger, and disunity.
And what it's also saying is that all religions are equal, but some are more equal than others. And
exactly,
and it's completely devaluing Christianity, as if we are the poor relation of religions, and we're actually the biggest religion. Well, we were, but a lot of Christians have died over the last 20 years.
Dying.
Yeah.
Christianity is dying, sadly.
Well,
I don't think it is. I think it has.
The agenda is to stop it, mate. The agenda is to deflate it in schools, and they're getting the children. That's how they start.
You have to remember, ultimate evil is always the Antichrist. It's not the anti-Allah, is it?
No,
exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Good point.
Absolutely.
Very good point.
Yeah, really great point, actually.
I'll tell you what. I mean, we've just shown one, but talking of of idiots while we're at it, Andy Williams, the should have stuck to singing, shouldn't he? Really?
I was just going to say that. I thought it was a
I knew you were going to say that.
I couldn't help it. Sorry. Boom, boom.
Are you giving your age away, Paul?
I know, mate. I know. It's probably. I mean, I didn't even know he was. Richard told me who Andy Williams was. I didn't. This guy appeared on GB News, and he described Tommy as a vile, racist thug. Now, just imagine, Andy, what we could do with your name, with our big social media outlets. If we was to stoop as low as you were, as low as you were prepared to, just imagine what we could do with your name and your reputation. Thankfully, and lucky for you, we're better than that. We don't stoop as low as you do. But the challenge to you, Andy Williams, is this. Come on my channel. You got a far bigger audience on there than you get on GB News.
And he can explain his experience firsthand of all the times he's met Tommy.
He's been out with Tommy, yeah.
Exactly.
And all the evidence he's seen of it with his own eyes.
So let's get it right.
Perhaps he just read it in the Daily Mail.
Exactly. So again, he describes him as a vile, racist thug. So, Andy Williams, you're officially being called out for about the 5th time this week to come onto this channel, explain yourself, or otherwise all your family and friends can know what an absolute dipstick you are. And on top of that, you're also an absolute coward.
I'm taking odds, Paul. What do you reckon? Do you reckon he'll show?
What do you
Typical
think?
lefty, mate.
Well,
Typical
when
lefty.
he was called out on it on GB News, he said he wouldn't. What did he say? He wouldn't justify the question with an answer.
Lucky us.
So, you know, the bottom line is he didn't have a bloody answer. He's just another idiot. There you go. These are the sort of people you need to keep away from. Look at him.
Well, here's the thing about...
Well, maybe on the show,
here's
we
the thing
start doing Melt of the Week.
Melt of the Week.
Well,
you know?
Well, we got some competition this week, haven't we?
That woman's she's got black eyes and a black heart. She's, you know...
And by the way, gents, this trans agenda they've been pushing in the schools, it's completely illegal under the Education Act, I think 95, because you can't teach an ideology. And it is an ideology. There's no science behind saying men can be women and women can be men. That's nonsense. It is an ideology, and it's illegal to push an ideology in school, but they've still done it. They've still done it.
All the rules.
Illegal.
The problem is, Andrew, is as you well know, all the rules and regulations, the rights and wrongs, the laws, none of it really matters anymore. Yeah, it only works one way, doesn't it? So, you know, who knows what we're facing. Let's get on to the big one.
Cock and bull ideology, isn't it?
Absolutely. Let's get on to the very big one of the evening, and particularly interested to hear what Andrew's got to say about this. I'll probably let Danny and Richard in first, and then we'll get Andrew in afterwards. Let's have a little look. I watched Ben Habib this morning. I'm sure many of you watched this, but at the end of Ben's news at Ben, he said this.
Nigel Farage is just a performer. He is not the leader that is going to save this country. Rupert Lowe carries that torch now. He carries that torch because of a number of things. He stood firm in his position. He would not budge. And he's had the courage to fight Nigel when Nigel has tried to rubbish him. And of course, he's an MP, a brave MP, a fantastic MP. So around Rupert, something has to emerge over the next few weeks and months. And it is to that endeavour that we must all commit ourselves. I'm going to come back to this subject a few times over the next few weeks, but it is of vital importance that we understand Nigel Farage ain't the man, Reform UK ain't the man. It doesn't matter how well they're doing in the polls, they will not deliver the country to safety. They will be part of the problem, they are not the solution. The solution is coming.
Wow, the solution is coming. Now, I've got to tell you, like one or two other people on the screen right now, I speak to Ben quite a bit. I wouldn't say every day, but we speak quite a lot, or at least we're messaging quite a lot. And Ben is playing his cards very close to his chest. He's becoming a bit of a poker player, is how Ben. What do you make of that, Danny? What do you make of that? The solution is coming.
Could be another party, possibly. It could be where they're in talks with Elon about buying out Reform, because everything's got a price tag, hasn't it? But I think it could be a coalition. Another party could be coming. And to be fair, if it was those people that we've mentioned recently that all started their own political party, and there was enough people, you know, that could make it work, it would 100% sway my vote from Reform to that party. Richard?
Yeah, I mean, look, we all know Ben. We know the caliber of man he is. I love that. His backdrop. It's so English. A Union Jack, a bar, and a nice historical painting. I just thought
he only needs a Churchill cigar now, doesn't he?
He does. I mean, that sums Ben up. You know, he's the quintessential Englishman. I think it's and the reality is, Ben has a massive part to play in saving the country without a shadow of doubt. Obviously, they'll know what's going on in the background, whether Elon's involved or not. To be honest with you, it doesn't actually probably really matter. If you get the right people and you get the right head of steam, and I've said this, and again, I know a lot of people don't fully agree with me on this. I think you go from Nick Tenconi and UKIP right the way through to Suella Braverman and Liz Truss and maybe Jenrick. I'm not too hot on Jenrick for a lot of reasons. Andrew could probably...
I'll tell you what,
tell us more about that. But
his ex-post yesterday was very good.
Who Jenrick's? Yeah, it's just what he did with us about the migrant hotel a couple of years ago. And anyway, putting all that aside, if we had a broad coalition from Nick through to these right-wing Tories who, Andrew, tell us, are they the real deal? These, the Bravemans and the Trusses and these others. What do you think? Or are they going to wreck it?
Well, if you want to know about the characters in the Conservative Party, obviously I've known most of them longer than, from when they were in Parliament. Liz Truss, I'm afraid, is not the real deal. No, okay. She has some various issues, which I probably can't talk about here. But we could bring over a pint. I could tell you a few things that make you chuckle.
Well, I'll take you up on that.
But I mean, she can't talk about the vaccine harms. She can't talk about Nord Stream, which was, I believe, we played our part in the UK in destroying that gas pipeline to Europe. But she can't talk about any of that, and she can try and snuggle up to Trump in America, but she's not the real deal. No, Suella Braverman, I signed her nomination forms for the Conservative leadership, and I'm absolutely convinced they put up Kemi, who was backed by the loathsome Gove, to make sure that Suella didn't get into the final. So the fact that they were working against her, the establishment didn't want her. So she's the real deal. I think
she does seem like that, Andrew. That's
Jenrick. Well, he was the immigration minister, and he stuck 51% of all the migrants in hotels in the whole of Leicestershire, in my constituency in northwest Leicestershire. And when I got him in the tea room and had him out over it, he said it was the government's policy to stick them all in northwest Leicestershire. I was an independent MP then, so he thought it was very clever to stick them all in northwest Leicestershire. But I did get them all all shut down before the election and got them out. Jenrick, I remember going to help at his by-election in Newark to get him in. He had quite an interesting predecessor, didn't he? Patrick, he had to resign over the Fiji affair. Do you remember Fiji?
No.
The Fiji APPG. If I tell you that
that's why you're an MP.
Keith Vaz and his sister Valerie were members. Let's put it that way.
Right. Okay. Say no more then. Yeah. If Keith Vaz was involved, that says everything we need to know.
Yes. No, I think what Ben's doing. I've spoken to Ben a couple of times today, and I reposted that on my Twitter this morning. His news at Ben. The country's gagging for it. I mean, yes, Reform are flying high in the polls, but that's only because the other parties are absolutely unelectable. And they think they're going to win the next election because everyone else is unelectable, and that's not good enough.
We need a political revolution. So Ben Habib said the solution is coming. Now, obviously you can't give anything away, Andrew, but please do.
I can't, but I agree with my quote this morning was I agree with Ben. And Paul's
trying to end your revitalised political career before it's even started, Andrew.
What career?
Andrew, there's only us. No one else is watching.
It's only four mates on a chat
between us.
So okay. Look, obviously, we appreciate you can't spill any beans, but not until the stream's ended, at least. But what you can do, Andrew, is look. Ben said the solution is coming. In your view, what is that solution? What would that solution look like?
Well, I think the check takes a little while to clear, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think the chances of removing both Zia and Farage from Reform, since they own all the shares between them, is pretty much nil if they don't want to go. So unless someone makes them an offer they can't refuse, which could happen, I don't think there's another solution other than forming a new party. And I think the sooner we do that, the better.
Absolutely.
We've got 4 years. I can't see Labour rising in the polls. So they're not going to be rushing off for an early election because they'll like to keep drawing their pay and rations for as long as possible and wrecking the country in the meantime. And it's going to be a gargantuan job to turn this ship around. We've got to start pumping out the bilges first because we're going down at the moment and we're going down fast.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, a new party standing on actually deportation of illegal migrants and foreign criminals. I mean, that would be a huge differentiator with the other parties. And I can think of lots of other policies we could have, which would be huge differentiators.
Getting rid of net zero would be one, wouldn't it? Getting rid of net zero.
No, absolutely. Net zero should be gone straight away. I mean, to be honest, Trump has road tested the policies, hasn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
And they say that we're about 5 years behind America. Well,
there you go.
I hope we are.
Yeah. So Andrew, look, which is preferable, do you think, a new party or a takeover of Reform?
A takeover of Reform would be easier, as long as we get rid of all the baggage. And I'm not sure we can get rid of all the baggage in any sort of means.
And money talks, doesn't it? In any business, money talks.
I mean, I must admit, Nigel looks under pressure. There are rumours that he's on the verge of a bit of a breakdown over. I mean, he's never felt a backlash like this, and he wasn't expecting it. He thought he was going to get away with it. The problem is he's done it so many times to so many people that they're all coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah, they're all coming out. And this is not exactly news to a lot of people. And to be fair, even someone like myself who has tried again to get behind Reform, not because they're the best fish in the sea, but because for us they were the only fish in the sea. Even for people like myself and other YouTubers that run channels like this, we've done our best to try and get behind Reform, but we've been seeing this coming for months now. We've been saying it's not happening.
I reminded Ben and Rupert 2 weeks ago that before the election last year, I messaged both of them and told both of them to their faces, Nigel's going to turn on both of you two. And Ben, give me his due, Ben Habib texted me back and said, indeed you did, Andrew, indeed you did. Now, I base that on, I've known Nigel for about 10 years and we've campaigned on the same stages. I've had dinner with him, spoken with him on the phone for hours and hours and hours. But when it came to the crunch, and I needed somebody to help me stop them jabbing the babies in the UK with the experimental vaccines in January 23, when I'd exhausted all the cowards in Parliament who knew about it but wouldn't stand up, I went to Nigel. And when Nigel said to me, I'm not speaking about the vaccines, Andrew, and if you know what's good for you, you won't either, that's not leadership. There's another word for that, and I'm not going to say it here, but there's another word for it. And that's the opposite of leadership. And when I said to Nigel 2 years ago that Starmer was going to take us into the European Defence and Securities Union, that's his plan, and he's going to give away control of our armed forces, our intelligence services, our nuclear deterrent, and our local police force. When Nigel says to me, Brexit's done, Andrew, and we're not talking about it anymore, that's not leadership either. And it's not the truth.
And Ben said the same today.
And that's how I knew because Ben and Rupert were genuine people. I'd known both of those for probably 2 years, 3 years. I knew that they were never going to fit with Nigel. And I knew it was going to end in tears. I didn't think it'd go that fast with Ben, to be honest, but
yeah, let me read a couple of these out. The Grim Reaper, thank you. I'm going to buy 100 Easter eggs for Hampshire School and send them. That's a lovely gesture. Jackie McKenzie, if the school cancels the Easter celebrations, are they going to cancel celebrations for other groups or are they just anti-Christian? Good point. Because on their website, it talks about Eid and Diwali and God knows what else. Everything bar Scientology, I think. But Epic 2000, thank you. We are being erased. Isn't this a kind of genocide? Christmas, Robin Hood, Easter, Bonfire Night, all being cancelled. When does it stop? I mean, that's the next one.
I've never met anybody of, well, obviously in Leicestershire, especially Leicester, we've got quite a very diverse community. I've never met anybody in Leicester who of any religion who didn't love Christmas.
Exactly. Yeah,
and look forward to it.
Exactly.
Just quickly, while we're on that subject, do you remember back in December time, on Christmas Day, Sadiq Khan, in my opinion, hates the Christian values. He introduced on Christmas Day the congestion charge for electric vehicles in London.
Yeah, on
that
Christmas
was introduced
Day.
on
That
Christmas Day.
That was a nice Christmas present to the country.
Wasn't it nice?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
what
lovely.
I'm saying is it's another little silent message against Christianity.
Well, here's the ironic thing. Over 8,000 people watching now. Fantastic. Here's the irony of it. When it comes round to Christmas, I don't know if it's going to happen this year after what I've been talking about, but the first Merry Christmas messages I get have mainly been from Muslim friends of mine who are quite happy to celebrate Christmas alongside us. My friends have not had a problem with that. And I've never met anyone, like Andrew's saying, I've never met anyone that doesn't like Christmas or who is offended by it. So again, for me,
they are really, they're in the wrong country.
They're in the wrong country. Absolutely. You know? Absolutely. And I don't know who's going to tell Richard about Father Christmas. I don't know who's going to break the news to him.
Well, I was training for the job last year with the beard and the fat belly, but I've lost the beard and the fat belly's going. So
you've kept the belly. Yeah.
The thing about the Easter celebration and that being banned in the school. Now I think that could be more sinister than we think, because there's something very fundamental in Islam that a lot of people probably don't realize. That Islamic theology denies the crucifixion and therefore the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So it denies the central theme of the Christian message. In other words, redemption by the death of Christ and the resurrection, because if he didn't die, he wasn't raised. And that's fundamental to their beliefs. And it just seems very interesting that Easter's been targeted by this woman if it is this woman. We don't know for sure if it's her that's made the decision. But so I just wonder, is there a more sinister agenda at play there?
Well, the only thing that Richard is, and I've got to say this, to be honest with you, I don't see this up front. I'm not saying who's behind it, but up front, we don't see any Muslims that are causing this problem. This is a white, probably almost certainly C of E or Catholic or whatever she is. You know, these are our own people causing these problems in many cases.
Absolutely,
there's an agenda, Paul.
That's what I'm saying. It's the agenda.
Yeah.
And the agenda is basically to completely eradicate the core Christian.
It's demonstrating how woke they are, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
virtuous.
Absolutely. Rebellious Javi, Rebellious Jay, sorry. This is all by design, so be it.
It so is.
Thank you, mate. Kenny, always appreciate Kenny. That head teacher hasn't a clue. How can you have respect for diversity and create a more inclusive atmosphere when you scrap Christian celebration? That's not inclusive or diverse, is it? Absolutely, spot on. Couldn't have said so better myself. The Grim Reaper, what's going to be going on at Christmas? That was my next question.
What's going to be? He said, "What's going to be next Christmas?"
Yeah, what's going to be next Christmas? I mean,
there isn't an atheist out there that wouldn't riot if we cancel Christmas. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Peter's a new member. Thank you, Peter. The Holtman, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Cheers, Chris. And Peter, another Peter is a new member. Lovely. Debbie Douglas tried to speak with Richard today, but he was busy.
Yeah, every time I go to a demo, I've either got a camera in my hand, I'm interviewing people, or, I mean, for once I wasn't actually organising the thing, so that was a bit of a relief. So apologies for that, Debbie. I think we might be doing another one in a month's time. I'm not sure about that. I need to speak to the organisers. I'm not organising these demos, nothing to do with me, Governor. I'm just going and filming them and doing a bit of a couple of interviews. So if you're there next time, Debbie, let's have a chat.
Hellgates, what we need to do is vote for policy solutions, not brain dead political brands - parties. Andrew, it's a difficult question. You haven't got to answer this, but I'll ask it, and just if you want to be diplomatic, that's up to you. Who would you prefer as leader of a potential new party, Ben or Rupert?
I think we should open it up to the members.
That's a good shout.
That would be democratic, wouldn't it?
That would be a tough one, wouldn't it? Well, that would be a tough one.
Well, then no one can argue, can they?
Yeah. What a great answer. Danny, who would you vote for?
I've got to say, at this precise moment, I would have to say Ben Habib.
Richard?
Yeah, Ben, because I know him. And I like him.
That's
a personal bias.
That's my take.
Yeah. But that's not good enough. It's got to be.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's got to be the members.
Yeah.
And then also that rubs Nigel's nose in it, doesn't it? Because he daren't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
guys, so in the chat, just put Ben or Rupert. Let's have a vote on this amongst the people.
To be fair,
watching.
either, Paul, in my opinion. I think they're both pretty good.
But let's have a little look at who the viewers would prefer. There's 8,000 people.
I think what the party would need would be an interim leader, and then a proper election.
Yeah.
And that needs to be as soon as we've got, I don't know, 100,000 members or 200,000 members.
Yeah. I mean, you're certainly looking at leader and deputy leader there, aren't you? That's for sure. You know, whichever way you spin it. Paul O'Keefe, the leader of the biggest UK teachers union, NEU, is Daniel Kabidi, who is a member of the Trotskyite Socialist Workers' Party. It wants to replace parliamentary democracy with a communist dictatorship. They also run the SUTR. Doesn't come as a surprise. Monty Mop. Sack the head. She is abusing her power, cancelling the most important Christian calendar event of the year for diversity, satanic and twisted education. Now, interestingly enough, during that, we'll stick with the Ben thing and that, but just going back to that very briefly, in that statement, they talked about talks, or they spoke about conversations within the community. I wonder who they were who had they been talking to? Surely not the ordinary mums and dads, nans and granddads of the kids at that school, and they're surely the ones that should count. I'll tell you now, if my child went to that school, they wouldn't be going to that school again. Not until that head teacher was gone.
You can understand why so many people are homeschooling their children.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Nick. I really appreciate that. Jackie Lee, bet the staff at the school will still have their 2-week paid Easter holiday. What a great point.
Absolutely.
What a great point. Muttley, thank you. Mr. Bridgen, get together with Rupert, Ben, and start a new party and make common sense great again.
Yeah.
Well, I would have a strong suspicion that if a new party was to arise, I don't think there'd be... I think all the money would be going on Andrew certainly having a position there somewhere along the line. Scottish Lass, she's become a member. Thank you. Andrew, what sort of role in a hypothetical new party would particularly interest you?
Well, as long as we got the principles of the party right, I'm not precious about it. But I would have thought, they'd want somebody who's got over 14 years experience in the House of Commons and knows how it works, and that's a lot more than anybody else. And someone who's been in the hard knocks.
Yeah. Danny's got 30 years of experience in the House, but it's a public house, unfortunately, so it's probably not really.
Well, that is my whole life. I've been brought up in the pubs. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think it's going to be interesting. And the choice of name is going to be interesting. And I think
that's very important as well.
Yes. There's lots of things need to be done. And I think another thing, if we were pitching to Elon Musk for money, it's very clear what's going on in Parliament is that Labour are going to be passing legislation that's going to cut off Elon Musk giving any money in the future. They're going to specifically do that. And they would move fast if they thought it was coming. So what we'd have to do is pitch to Elon Musk for a lump of money, because I guarantee you, if he was able to give us some money for a new party now, he won't be able to give us any next year. Because Labour are going to stop all this happening.
Well, that's how they plan on staying in power, isn't it? They're in keep importing their voters.
Bring in 5 million more of their potential voters as well. I think.
How corrupt is all this?
Oh,
it's nothing. It's nothing that Blair and Brown weren't doing before 2010.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's happened under the Tories as well. They sold us down the river. And as I've said many times, myself, John Redwood, Craig McKinley, we went to see Sunak and the Whips and told him that this Rwanda plan was never going to fly while we were in the ECHR and the refugee convention. And he wasn't interested. It was all for show. There was never any. You and I got more chance of going to Rwanda. It was all just for public digestion. Just unbelievable. So deceitful and so false.
Chris, thank you very much. I wish you British men would take a lesson from Canadian men. Remember World War II? Who was more feared to our enemy? Thank you very much, Chris. This is an interesting one. Defender.
I have that one, that old story, isn't it? That when the Germans fired, we ducked, and when we fired, the Germans ducked, and when the Americans fired, everyone
ducked.
Hasn't changed much, has it?
Oh, bless them. We can't speak badly about our American cousins. We love them, really. Defender 1968. Paul, something is going on with your channel. I got no notifications of tonight's live stream and keep getting YouTube adverts during the stream. Right, so the first one, I don't know why that's happening. All of a sudden, a lot of people that haven't been getting notifications of my videos, which has been playing around with the viewership of some of my videos recently. But the ads that are suddenly appearing in live streams is a new YouTube algorithm update. That's happening.
I've got it today.
You did get it.
I've been inverted, Paul. Look, as you can see, that badge earlier was there when I got kicked out of the show just now. I didn't get kicked out, but had some sort of technical issues. So now I've come back to front. I'm a bit confused by it all, to be fair.
Oh, that's all right, Danny. You still look good. Rebellious J, government overthrow would be ideal. Best Black, huge respect to Richard, Danny, Paul and Andrew. Forget Farage and Unite Patriots. Andy the Gabby Cabby, one of my faves. Evening, Andy. Good man. I'm done with them, Paul. Nigel's antics have blown it for me. We need new people so time is left to act. Guys, if you haven't already subscribed to Andy the Gabby Cabby, please make sure you do. One of my brilliant mods, Ian Nicholson. Thank you, Ian. Andrew, what is your opinion on Nick Tanconi?
I think we're going to need to get everybody in eventually. I'd like to be in a position of strength and have a good membership before we widen the net too. But I want David Curtin in for sure. He's a great guy, and there's a lot out there, isn't there? There's a lot of good guys out there. Yes, we need to coalesce, but we are going to need some discipline on messaging at the same time, because the mainstream media are going to come for us even more than they do already, and they already come for us. But I think we actually, what we need to do is we need to relish that battle. I mean, 5 or 10 years ago, guys, right, we may have lost that battle, but the way social media is now, I believe we could win that battle unless they come along and shut us all down. Paul, we've got to win that battle, because losing doesn't bear thinking about. We go into another Trojan horse party like Reform is, and they've shown themselves for what they are. People are still voting because there's no alternative. Yep. But I mean, if we haven't, Starmer's going to be there, or the Labour government's going to be there until 2029, hanging on by their fingertips to be thrown out. And if we end up then with another Trojan horse with Nigel Farage and Tice and Zia, well, I mean, another 5 years of decline. We can't. It's just we're digging. When you're in a hole, stop digging. Stop voting for parties that are not going to deliver for you. But I mean, what we're going to get, if you're not careful, is nobody voting. I mean, 40% of the population. But I've got some ideas for some policies which will tempt those people who have not voted, lost interest, and say there's nothing for them. Well, that's how we're going to win this next election, with the people who've given up on politics. We've got to get them back. And they say to me on the doorstep, I'm not interested in politics, Andrew. I say, well, the problem is the politicians you've got now are very interested in you. So you better get interested. Yeah. Here's the thing. What a potential new party, I hope they understand. I'm sure Ben does. I've never met Rupert, but I'm hoping Rupert does as well. I've known Rupert for about 2 years. He seems a very good lad. He is sound. Yeah. And I think what I hope they understand is that they don't have a platoon. They don't have a regiment. They have an absolute army of volunteers waiting to get out there, canvass, knock on doors, deliver leaflets, do YouTube channels. I mean, something else I'm going to do in the near future is I'm going to be running a couple of videos where I encourage other people out there. I mean, look, there's 8,500 people watching this tonight. If only 5% of those people were to set up their own YouTube channels, they can make a little bit of money in the process as well, right? And they can help spread the message. Some can, Paul. Some can make a bit of money. Not naughty boys. Not when you're not a messiah. Just because I was a friend of Tommy. Just because I was a very naughty boy. That was it. This one from the moderator. I know that. Thank you very much, mate. Paul, please ask Andrew of his opinions on Nick Tanconi and UKIP. Well, we kind of already done that. But what I would say is, Andrew, following on to that question, if this party didn't come about, and I asked this question to Nick himself the other day, perhaps in a slightly different way, is UKIP tarnished? Has it been too tarnished over the years to make a serious logistical comeback? Or is there a chance with some rebranding and some new members, etc.? Is there still a chance for UKIP? Because Nick's support is growing unbelievably. Personally, I don't think so. But, I think if we can't form a viable new party, personally, I think America's beckoning. I think it's... You mean for you personally? Well, yeah. I mean, I think what we're going to do is there's no way back for us, is there? Yeah. It's going to be... It's a scary prospect.
But I think we're actually in very exciting times, because
Here we are.
if we can have this way of pulling Nick Tenconi, Suella, everybody in between those two, not extremes, but those two different sides of the right, David Curtin's, and get them in together, put them in a big pot and stir it up, and then get some really big thinkers, someone like a British Elon Musk who can come in and go through all the wastage in government and the civil service.
It'll be worse. It'll be worse in the UK than in America. That's why they.
Oh yeah.
Who wouldn't? Why is no political figure suggesting it? Because they know what they'll find. And then they're the ones that benefit. They like the system they've got now.
Yeah, they're up to their necks in it, aren't they?
HS2 was a land grab at cheap prices, and it was also a sop to the civil service, because it's been the best paid jobs in the civil service, and they've never laid a yard of track.
It's disgusting, isn't it? Absolutely disgusting.
Matthew, thank you, Matthew. Should we start going to church to bolster our culture? Something I've been thinking about lately, even though I'm not particularly religious. Well, there certainly wouldn't be any harm in it, that's for sure. The British Patriot, Rupert, with Ben as deputy. Good to see Andrew on. Thank you very much, David. Really appreciate that. I'm sure I speak for many in thanking you guys for all your work and bringing hope and some light in these dark times. But I think Richard's right. I think we are in a very exciting position right now. Charlie Ward, we need to get behind UKIP, and Nick Tenconi is the man to vote for. Rupert and Ben should join it. Rebellious J, 2 words, Rothschild's family. M. Salim, thank you very, very much. And Rich Boy 66, I feel defeated and don't see anything changing. I think things are changing, but what we've got to do, what we've got to hope for, Danny, is that all of these good people that we've spoken about and the names that have been mentioned, we've got to hope that they can put minor differences to one side. I can't remember who it was saying the other day. I think it was Howard, I think. Maybe not. It may have been Howard, that spoke about a movement in Poland where they have 10 key points that everyone can agree on. And all the rest of it doesn't matter. Put it to one side. We'll deal with that later.
Ego, Paul. Ego's got to be left at the door. They've all got to come into one.
Well, the party's got to have founding principles, which if you don't agree with those, don't join the party, don't be a candidate.
Yeah.
Those are the unbreakable principles.
Yeah.
And we've got to thrash those out. But I mean, they're going to be pretty straightforward. If you don't support deportation of illegal migrants, then don't join.
Don't join.
No good bitching about it.
Guys, no more supers tonight. Thank you very much, because I want to get into the regular chat and have a look at this vote. Are you going to vote for Ben as leader of a potential new party, this imaginary new party, or are you going to vote for Rupert? Or you can vote for anyone else, anyone you like.
We can't do it now, but you could do that over the next couple of days as a little survey out there.
Absolutely. Northwest Patriot wants Andrew as leader. Thank you very much, mate. And Laurie N says UK being dismantled right before our eyes. Rebellious J, Oliver Cromwell is turning in his grave. Something else I wanted to ask about as well.
You know that he was the only person in the country that was. He was dead 2 years before they dug him up and hanged him.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say that.
And his head was on a spike above Westminster Hall door. And if it hadn't blown off in the wind about 100 odd years later, and it was so dried up from the sun, it shattered on the cobbles into 1,000 bits like porcelain, and he was swept up and put in the bin. I'm convinced his head will still be there now.
Still be.
Yeah. No, they don't forgive. They don't forgive and forget, you know.
No.
Oh no, absolutely. So the other question I want to ask you and pop in the chat is, what would you call this new party? Because I think a new party has to have a really good name. And I tell you, I've got one. For me, it should just be called the PP, the People's Party.
What about the Freedom Party?
Freedom Party, I like that. Freedom Party,
I like that.
Freedom Party,
freedom.
GB.
Yep.
Shorter the better for me. Freedom Party.
Yep.
Who couldn't vote? Why you're not voting for freedom? Oh,
Yep.
very strange.
And we could get Gert we could get Geert Wilders involved then, couldn't we? Because Geert's got the Freedom Party in Holland.
I think what we should have is a party name that has a great an acronym where when it's spelled out, it spells something like Trot's Independence Traders. You know, that's it. So just to piss off the establishment, you know. Oh dear.
You're suggesting we have offices in Paris, New York, and Peckham.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's got to be
exactly.
in Peckham.
Omni Chronoma, the solution is coming, a political rhetoric, we shall see, but let's stop banking on political promises and messiahs. We need to take matters into our own hands. Check your email. Listen, I don't know, talk like that always worries me a little bit. You can't take matters into your own hands because nobody is powerful enough. You know, someone dropped me an email the other day and they said, oh, what are you actually doing, Paul? Well, I'm doing what I can. I'm one man with a camera. And it's the same with Richard and with Danny and with, you know, Andrew obviously has a little bit more clout. He was an MP. You know, he's
but
very
this is
well.
An evolution that'll be fermented in people's kitchens and
Exactly, Andrew.
with discussions with friends and family. That's how this is going to spread.
You should go back to these people and say, look, this is what we're doing. Give us your ideas. What are you doing that's great to change things?
What I normally do is I say to people, and I'm not criticising the person that was kind enough to leave that message for me. What I'm saying is this, is that you can't take things into your own hands. That sounds very concerning to me. Whatever we do, it has to be done legally. It has to be done properly. It's the only way we're going to win.
You know that Starmer's clearing out 3,000 more hardened criminals. He's giving another 7% discount on your sentence. So he's clearing 3,000 more prison places this summer for another round of detentions over hurty words. And
I tell you, I mean, you know, I honestly think if we don't sort this out at the next election, we're in real trouble. If we get another Labour government,
that's what I just told you, that America will be looking like a safe haven, a safer haven.
Yeah, I'd want Trump to send 101st Airborne in if we. Yeah, exactly.
My eldest son lives in Austin, Texas, and I said, "What's it like there, Alex?" And he said, "It's brilliant, Dad." He said, "Everyone's really nice to everyone." I said, "Well, what about all the guns?" He says, "It's because of all the guns." He said, "We've got more guns than we've got people. Everyone's really nice to everyone, Dad."
Yeah, they say an armed polite society is a polite society. Look, you know, I'm a big supporter of the right to bear arms, not in the liberal way in America. In certain areas, they've not got it right, in my opinion, but we've also got it wrong just as much as they have in some parts.
I mean, during the Troubles in Northern Ireland, lots of people were armed, you know, off-duty soldiers, off-duty policemen, people that work in security, and there were very, very few, you know, shootings that were accidental or malicious from those people because they knew how to handle firearms.
All the Northern Ireland MPs carry, don't you?
Yeah, they have them in the houses. They've got to.
By the way, guys, just a little warning: we better stop talking about that subject. The last time we started talking about what we've just been talking about, they cut the live stream live mid-air. So I don't know why, but we better move on from that one. DeRosby is a new member. Thank you very much. Anthony M, what do you think of hope, not hate in reform? Well, it has no place anywhere near it, does it? Simple as that.
Yeah.
I think what he's alluding to there, Paul, is a hope, not hate, with vetting the candidates for reform by default.
Well, and also what baffles me is, given Nigel's history, if he were vetted by hope, not hate, really, he wouldn't get through, would he?
No,
that's right.
He wouldn't have got through himself.
No.
And apparently,
you're right.
A number of the reform senior management were also working for hope, not hate, as well. I've heard a number of them were working with them.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Nicky Talks, thank you. Homeschooling is harder to do as a bill was voted into Parliament, which makes it harder for parents to take their kids out. Convenient to pass things like cancelling Easter, all planned.
Completely.
Yeah.
Rebellious J, the war is on people. TikTok. Linda Stone, it may not be the head teacher that decided to cancel Easter. Maybe it was the school governors, and who knows what religion those people follow. This is the thing. This is where it's time for people to stand brave and stand up for themselves, the country, and for the kids and for Christianity. Look, any head teacher that is given those instructions, in my opinion, should fight it tooth and nail. And ultimately, even if it means they have to leave their job, they should leave. Just me, you should contact the new parties and hold a secret meeting between you and form a fab party. I will be your tea lady. That'd be nice.
Might already be happening, you know.
It might be. Thank you very much, Richard the Man. Richard the Man, does Andrew believe Farage is a compulsive liar?
No, but I do believe that he's controlled. And I don't know what the establishment have got on him, but it must be pretty powerful. But I mean, most MPs I know were all controlled. Yeah. They are all controlled. They can't talk about things.
And Liz Truss has said this quite openly, hasn't she, since she's in recent weeks. The Knights Templar Church, I'd love to support this movement more via YouTube. K-Mac, thank you. Windsurfer, Andrew is a hero I could back, and I don't believe in this system. He is a man of integrity. That's why he's here. Thank you, Sue. And the Walt XRP, remember Walensa, Polish hero. Yeah.
Solidarność, remember? Solidarity.
Solidarity. Yeah, that was back in the 80s, wasn't it?
Solidarity, there's a name.
Solidarity, yeah. Guys, right, no more supers tonight. Thank you very much for those. Let's get into the regular chat and have a little look at what you've been, if I can get to the bottom, because there's about 8,000 messages tonight. Let's have a little look. Where did we get down to? Let's see what you've been putting. In the chat, who did you vote for, Ben or Rupert? Not that it really matters, but how quickly do you think something like this could take off, Andrew, and how big and successful could it be?
I think it could be. It depends. I think if we could get 5 or 6 decent names in, and yeah, I think it could be very quick. The appetite's there.
Oh, the appetite.
Nigel's shown himself for what he is. And people can't unsee it. So the only reason they're still sticking with Reform at the moment is there's no one else, nothing credible otherwise. But I think it could be 6 months. We'd be flying. 3 months we'll be flying. And we've got to be. I mean, I've got some interesting policy ideas which I can't talk about tonight. But I mean, they're going to be. Gentlemen, you're going to like it. You're going to like it.
Ooh, exciting.
I'm such a tease. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
I'm desperately trying to get to the bottom of the chat here, and let's have a look. No, I still can't get to the votes where I suggested about voting. I can see quite a lot of, I'm just getting there now. Ben, I mean, it looks sort of 50-50-ish. I think Ben is going to be very popular on this channel. There's a lot of Ben supporters on here. Rupert,
I was thinking about the membership, Andrew, and we haven't done much with it because we've all been busy with all the stuff.
Also, if they think they've got a chance of selecting the next prime minister, leader of a party that could be the prime minister, I mean, that's a great incentive for people to want to join the party. Surely, isn't it?
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you
can't bitch about democratizing and then not say that the members should choose who the leader is.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, we got up to 70,000 on the pledge, and that's just us doing it sort of in our back, in our kitchens and, doing it in a very, low cost way in very short order. And that was just with sort of 3 YouTube channels. So
we haven't pushed it for a while, Rich, have we?
We haven't pushed it. We'll have to start. We're going to start that next week. But I think you guys could get up to 250,000 in short order. I really do. I think you could do it really, really quickly because it.
Apparently, the reform membership ticker only goes up. When people leave, it doesn't go. I was told this by an insider. That's the truth. It's only an upwards ticker. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a nice message. Valerie Twine, I love your chats, gives me hope and cheers me up. Lovely, Valerie. I'm so glad that we do. That is really important. Liz Truss slagged off Tommy, so no. Liz Truss, no. Braverman and Braverman too. I like Suella.
I do. I did an anti-Semitism. No, it's not anti-Semitism. And against anti-Semitism march. And Suella was on it. She was right at the back. She had like one security guy. Her husband was there. She was talking to everyone. She just seemed like, she did seem very, very normal and quite humble, which is what you want, isn't it? Yeah. Very engaged with the people. Really nice,
Nick Tenconi's name is coming up a hell of a lot. I still haven't managed to get down to the bottom of the chat there. Still over 8,500 people watching. Well, look, guys, you'll be able to see for yourselves in the chat who is coming out on top. UKIP, very, very popular.
Well, a week's a long time in politics, Paul, and we haven't got to the election yet. So
yeah, exactly. Cyrus, split the right vote, please. Labour government is assured for the next 20 years. I've run out of this split the vote thing. I mean, there's no vote to split.
No.
At the moment,
Reform's
no
Labour
vote to
anyway,
split.
and Labour's reform.
Yeah. No vote to split right now.
I mean, let's get it right. If we're going to talk about splitting, Reform at the last general election handed this massive Labour majority because they weren't organised properly. They weren't ready for the election because it was just a vanity project that nobody was really interested in. So, the truth of the matter is, and that it was Nigel coming in that gave Reform the spike that did for the Tories. So we wouldn't be in the situation. We'd probably be in a hung parliament now,
Someone said Houdini for leader. Well, we need someone that can go on and escape, don't we? Right, guys, I think I'm going to bring it to an end. I mean, we've had a great chat tonight again. Great to get your thoughts, Andrew, and very much hopefully exciting times to look forward to. I believe, I will end with this, I believe that if this new party does get off the ground, the good news is that all of the good people that you know on YouTube and in social media will have at least a foot in the camp. That is my firm belief. And if we have a foot in the camp, you can rest assured that it will be a party that you can trust. Otherwise, we won't have our foot in that camp. It's as simple as that. So all is not lost. We've got plenty to look forward to. We will not be beaten. No surrender.
And nature abhors a vacuum. And let's face it, now that we've seen Farage and Reform for what they really are, there's a huge vacuum in our politics, and it's going to be filled, and it's got to be filled this time by the right people, doing it for the right reasons.
100%. Danny, you're looking very summary there. You and
I'm celebrating, mate. It's two wins in a row for McLaren, a British team, remember? 2 wins in a row for Formula One for McLaren, mate. And I'm just, I've done a little video earlier on my new channel. Little plug here.
Give that, go on, give it a quick plug, Danny.
You have to use the little @ sign, and it's Danny in Spain, or you can just type Danny Salmon, either one. Membership's gone up. I had 12 this time last week. I've got about 720 now, so that's nice. It's gone up quite nicely. Cracking up. I'm coming for you, Paul.
Good man. I'm glad, Danny. I look forward to that.
And YouTube is still messing with my finance, Paul. They still won't monetize me. They sent me an email. I sent you it, didn't they? Sent me an email saying, no, you're not eligible for monetization. And it's purely because of my association with Tommy Robinson. Simple as that. No other reason.
They wouldn't monetize mine either.
See? And that's something, that's something that we should get onto our American cousins about, because there must be somebody that we could lobby in the States and say, listen, they're actually strangling the pro-Trump agenda voice in the United Kingdom, and it's your Google, and Google is sitting with Trump, breaking bread with him. So someone needs to, whoever's got contacts there, whoever's talked to Elon, say, listen, you need to have a word with Google as well, because it needs sorted out. It's just totally unjust.
Just the last couple of 1 or 2 supers that have popped in. We're going to close in a minute, guys. Thank you. Danita, my Lord is my shepherd. God bless.
Well, it's nearly shepherd, Paul. It's nearly shepherd.
Yeah.
Andrew, loving Andrew's teaser. Alfie, thank you very much, Alfie. Emmanuel Goldstein, FAFO, Freedom and Family Orientated Party. Right, guys, thank you so much for all your chats tonight, all your messages. I'm going to enjoy myself tomorrow, trying to read through as many as I possibly can. I still can't get to the bottom to see you guys was saying whether you prefer Rupert Lowe or Ben Habib. I don't think it actually matters as long as we get what we need. Right. So, Andrew Bridgen, thank you so much. Danny in Spain, thank you so much. And of course, Richard Inman, thank you so much too. More than anything, thank you for watching. Before you go, please don't forget, make sure you subscribe, give us a thumbs up. That's all we asked.
And enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and God bless.
God bless you all. Look after those children. See you soon.
See you soon.